You know, I have never read anything by author Colleen Hoover, although I may have to start reading her because she's got yet another movie based on one of her novels hitting theaters this week. And you know what? I think romance fans are going to like it quite a bit. Hey everybody, I'm Sean McBride, the movie guy. Today let's talk about Reminders of Him.
There was before you.
Taking me back to the night we met.
And there was during you.
Had all
I never thought there would be an after you.
This court sentences you to 7 years incarceration.
Hey, how'd you know I lived there?
I'm not here to see you. I need to see my daughter.
You're her. Go.
In Reminders of Him, Micah Monroe plays Kenna. She's a young woman who returns to her Wyoming hometown after a 7-year prison sentence. See, it turns out she was up at the lake with her boyfriend. They did some drugs. She got high. She was driving on the way home. They crashed, and he was killed, and she was convicted of vehicular manslaughter. Now, it turns out she was pregnant at the time of the accident, so she gives birth in prison, and her boyfriend's parents take custody of the little girl, and they're raising her along with their son's best friend, a former NFL star named Ledger. He's played by Tyreek Withers, and he's become something of a surrogate dad of sorts to the little girl. So the main conflict here is that Kenna comes back to town and she wants nothing more than to meet her daughter, and her parents, who blame Kenna for all of the problems of the death of their son, they are not going to let her meet her daughter. Now, caught in the middle is the Ledger character here, and he kind of sides with the parents because he loves this little girl and he wants to do what's right for the girl, but he's undeniably attracted to Kenna as well. And so he's kind of torn between the two of them. Look, I think this film is kind of predictable. You know where this is going here. There's not any big twists going on here. I will say this also. All of these beats are really given away in the trailer. I kind of wish I had never seen the trailer because I wonder if it would have been so predictable since everything was given away there. But just be aware, if you're looking for a story that's new and exciting, this isn't it. But if you're looking for a story that's going to reassure you about the power of love and the redemptive power of forgiveness, well, you know what you're going to get here. Now, first and foremost, this is a romance, and I would say I think the romance works very well. I think Micah Monroe is a solid actor. I think Tyreek Withers, who I did not think was a great actor, because the only other thing that I really remember him in, well, a couple of movies, but especially that movie Him, which is horrible, and so I did not expect that much out of him. I think he turns in a very good performance here. And the bottom line is that the two people have chemistry. So my first rule of movie romances is that the two most gorgeous actors on screen, they're the ones that are going to fall in love. It's predestined in the casting department here. Micah Monroe, obviously a very good looking young woman, but I appreciate that she's kind of got an accessible beauty to her. She's not this impossibly gorgeous Hollywood actress here. She looks like a girl you would see on the streets here, a young woman that you might just know. It's interesting that it's Tyreek Withers, who I think is the impossibly gorgeous person here. This is a good looking man. I understand why he's, his first scenes at the bars, there's all these women hanging out there just trying to flirt with him. Good looking guy here, so you understand why their sparks are flying here. And I appreciate the slow burn romance. They both know that falling in love with each other is gonna cause problems for her attempt to find and meet the little girl here, and they can't hold themselves back anyway. I appreciate that. It's kind of like an inevitable romance, and I think it was very effective. So as much as I think that the romance works well, I would say that the other part of the emotional makeup of this movie is the redemption, the forgiveness plot, and I don't think that is quite as satisfying. I think it's just rushed. I don't know why. It seems like they could have spent a little more time on it. But several instances, we have, the Ledger character, when he first meets her, he's adamant that she has to leave, that she can't be there. And then he gets over that very quickly. I suspect it's just because she's the prettiest woman in the movie, so he's over it here. Same with the parents here. Bradley Whitford and Lauren Graham playing the parents here, and they are adamantly opposed to this woman letting her into their lives. And then they have a change of heart, and it happens way too quickly. And so I wish they'd spend a little more time fleshing that out. Now, speaking of Bradley Whitford and Lauren Graham, I think this has some very good supporting characters. They're solid. I did like, I mean, you're there mostly for the two young lovers, and they're great, but I like the supporting characters. And I want to point out Monica Myers, who is a Canadian actress with Down syndrome, and she steals a lot of this show. She just sets herself up as Kenna's best friend and her protector, and she's very funny. A good performance here. It's kind of nice to see supporting actors that can shine like that. So the bottom line for me is that yes, the story is very predictable, especially if you've seen the trailer where you know everything that's going to happen here. And yes, the romance works really well because these are gorgeous people falling in love. We always like to see gorgeous people falling in love. That's all good. I do think the redemption arc was rushed, but I like the acting. I like the cinematography and production design, all set up in the Wyoming mountains. That's very cool here. And the bottom line really is, yes, I cried. I'm not someone who, I mean, I get emotional, but I don't really cry a lot at the movies. But this one I found tears rolling down my cheek at the end. And that's a good thing in a movie like this. So I give Reminders of You 3 stars out of 4. So like I said at the top, I haven't never read anything by Colleen Hoover. If you have, let me know. Does this does the story stay pretty consistent with what's going on in the book? I know a lot of people who read the books hate the movies because movies can never get into the same depth that a novel can, so I understand that here. I will point out, this is the third of her movies, and she's got another one coming out called Verity. I guess it's a science fiction thing, so curious to see how she does that. She's mostly known for romance, but there's a science fiction one coming out here. We'll check that one out here. Of course, we'll remind you to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you get all these movie reviews just as soon as they drop. And check out the podcast. It's called Two Movie Guys, and every week my friend Joe Fryer and I get together and we chat about all of the week's big new movies. Just search for Two Movie Guys wherever you get your podcasts. So coming up next, there aren't a lot of movies out this week. It is the Academy Awards this weekend, and so a lot of theaters will be re-releasing those Academy Award nominated films into theaters here. Not a lot of space at the movies here. But coming up next, we are going to talk about a horror movie called Undertow. We'll talk about that next.